Morning, Sal. How are you?
Morning. I'm good, cold but good. How about you?
Not cold for some reason. I'm not sure.
You're crazy. You're in a t-shirt. I'm in a big jumper, oversized jumper.
I think I was just so used to being so lean. And now that I've got a little bit of extra body fat, I'm just like, I'm so warm. This is amazing.
Yeah, that makes total sense too.
Yeah. Anyway, it's all good. All right. Shall we thank our sponsors before we get into it?
Yes, definitely.
Fernwood Salisbury and Kojo Coffee. We've got our mugs there. Episode 12, babe.
I know. It's coming on quick. Exciting.
Yeah, we're big kids now.
Big kids, big pants on, out of the trainer nappies.
Love it, love it. Yeah, so we're talking about a topic at the moment that I think is so relevant to pretty much most, if not all, of our listeners, and that is our emotional attachment to food and nutrition. So I think, yeah, it does apply to so many people. Um, we've seen it as therapists. You would have seen it. I've seen
Yeah.
it as a trainer and a nutritionist. And it's just, yeah, it's so powerful. Hey.
Oh, 100%. And it is definitely something that we all go through. Like we all go through this, even us as therapists and nutritionists, but it's not talked about enough, I don't think. So I think we all experience it. We just don't really talk about it in depth enough.
And I think we don't talk about enough, like, of what causes it and how it
Yeah.
comes about.
Yeah.
And then there's also not enough in terms of strategies of like how to overcome it as well, I think.
Oh, 100%. And that's a big thing is I think a lot of people think, well, it can't be changed, but it can.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people think that when they're not able to stick to like a nutrition plan or their healthy eating or whatever, or like they just don't attempt it, they have this perception that it's to do with willpower and motivation.
Nope.
And it
If
just doesn't.
Yeah, if you're having trouble with emotional eating, it doesn't mean you don't have willpower. I'm telling you, yeah, agree,
Yeah.
100% agree.
And I think that's really important for people to understand. Like it's it's not you.
Nope.
It's not about willpower. It's not about how good you are or how bad you are. It's just about what's been programmed beneath the
Hmm.
surface.
And
And
that's it,
we
programmed
can
into
change it.
us. Yeah,
And we can change it.
like everything, like it again, I can't stress the importance of how much this all starts in the mind and how the mind, I think the mind is such a powerful tool. And I'm going to say tool because we can use it, we can manipulate it, we can change it. So it's a tool. And I just think like how incredible is it that we have power to change how our brain works?
It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. 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 It's pretty cool. And it's not easy, like,
No.
yeah. Yeah.
It's like being a brain surgeon, but not having to be a surgeon.
So yeah, like last week we talked about the fact that it has become a thing, and you have developed this emotional relationship with food, not because of anything that's your fault, but
Yep.
because like when we were babies, when we were hungry, we started crying, and it was just reinforced time and time again. Given treats or bribery as kids, with sweets and
Yeah.
desserts, and you know amazing memories formed around food. So the
Yeah.
reason why we've developed this attachment is not our fault necessarily. It's not about fault, but it's not our fault. But the reality is, we're now grown ups. We're not
100%.
babies anymore. We don't have to cry for our food anymore. We don't have to throw a tantrum to get a lolly anymore. Like we're
I
grown
don't
ups.
know now. Yeah.
I mean, have you ever been really hangry?
When you hit prep, you'll know that feeling. No,
But
you're
we do, as
100% right.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we have that
Yeah.
power to change it now.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do moving forward is, mind the muscle unleashed. Like that's what our podcast is, and so it's going to be a combination of. You're going to talk a lot about the mind side of
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
in today's, And then as we sort of get towards the end of that, like we'll have little practical things that you can implement as we go through.
100%.
But then we're going to focus a lot more, like in the next one, about like the practical nutrition based steps. So like I'm going to talk about, you know, counting macros and what macros are and the physiology of why we actually eat. And that will help people to become a lot more logical about it. But it's really important to understand the psychology behind it, right?
100%, because if we don't understand the psychology and science behind it, we're not going to be able to change it. So it's both of today's and next week's content that we're covering, it works hand in hand. Obviously, the mind, you want to get in the right place before you implement the strategies, because if you implement strategies or go into macros, it's not, if your mind's not there, it's not going to work. So that's why we're doing it in this order. And yeah, they both go hand in hand. They're super important together. Like in any of the content we're going to cover in our podcast. But yeah, it all goes hand in hand.
I think this is the area where people struggle the most, to be honest.
Oh,
With
100%. This is a
nutrition.
big one. Yep.
With nutrition.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And like we know, most of, you can work out to the cows come home, but if your nutrition's not right, you're going to get nowhere.
Well, it's exactly right. Like if your nutrition's not right, you're not going to have the energy to fuel your workouts.
Yeah.
You're not going to have the brain power in order to like focus on technique and focus on reps or you know, that sort of thing. And then you're also not going to have the ability to recover after your workouts.
100%.
Like, you know, yes, we need to work out, but if your nutrition isn't sound and it's not supporting your training, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yep. No.
Yeah.
You get nowhere fast.
Pretty much. Like running on a treadmill.
Pretty much. A safe spot.
I've been running for like 45 minutes and I'm still in the same spot.
That's got to be a meme. We're going to make that into a meme.
Love it.
All right. Well, maybe we'll start by kicking off with the science behind it. So
Love that.
I think a big thing for everyone to understand is that emotional eating isn't about physical hunger. So it's when we turn to food to cope with our emotions. Now, those emotions can be, we could be sad, we could be stressed, we could feel lonely or even happy. And when we're holding one of those emotions, our body, like especially like stress, our body releases cortisol. Now, cortisol can boost appetite and make us crave high sugar and high fat foods. So this is a big part because a lot of people, when they emotionally eat, do go for the fatty foods, the sugary foods. We don't go for a bowl of lettuce and cucumber.
No, and cortisol is known as our stress hormone, right?
Yeah, yeah. And all those emotions, even like sadness and that, always holds a bit of stress. The stress is one of our main emotions because it's telling our body. So any emotion we hold, like sadness, fear, boredom, it's telling our body something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
So then we have that emotion of like sadness or boredom, but we also have stress there, whether we realize it or not. So that's
and stress isn't always bad as well. Like cortisol is not a bad hormone. That's what people need to understand.
Yeah,
like
100%.
You do have to have cortisol spikes. Like it's necessary.
Yes, because it's needed in the body. If we didn't have it, the body wouldn't work as well as the body does. So yes, it's definitely a good, cortisol is good. So cortisol boosts our metabolism to have those foods, and then eating these foods gives us that real quick hit of dopamine. So we feel great because we've just ate a chocolate glazed donut and we feel super good. But then, so the brain's feel good chemical is on high.
Yeah.
So for a moment, we're loving it. But I guess what we want to ask ourselves is, does it really make us feel good? Because I guarantee you 99.9% of people feel good for a bit and then we hit that, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I feel guilty. I regret having that. Why did I do that?
And it's a fleeting moment, right? Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
have a bite of something delicious, and
Yep.
that initial, oh my God, that's amazing, it actually only lasts that tiny little bit of time.
A
Like that's
hundred
it.
percent. Yep. And
It
that's a big thing is like it does only last seconds. So, a big thing you want to kind of try to figure out when you're about to emotional eat, and we'll cover this more a bit. But try it if you feel like you're going to emotional eat, try go for something healthy because tell yourself that's only going to taste good for 30 seconds. But then your guilt and your how you speak to yourself and the regret you hold, that lasts up to days.
way longer. And you
Yeah.
know what? I actually have heard as well, there has been research into it that the dopamine spike doesn't actually come necessarily from consuming the food. It actually comes when you see the food.
Yeah, because uh, I can guarantee you 9 times out of 10, when we emotionally eat, we don't actually taste the food.
Mm,
Like we
mm.
taste it, but we don't actually be like, oh, this is so good, like, and really and dive into those taste buds. It's more about we see the donut there or whatever food it is, we put it in and it's gone. It's like, ah, I've had it. So we're actually not tasting the food. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
why our dopamine only lasts a couple of seconds because that
Hmm.
food's there, then it's gone.
Hmm.
But then we hold that regret. And
And for
then
a lot of people, that regret can be like huge,
all
right?
that can lead into some very, very rough roads for people,
Hmm. Hmm.
especially if you're an overthinker.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're an overthinker, you'll probably find that you find it harder with emotional eating because then you go in that spiral of regret and shame and guilt, and then you can't let go of that because you tend to overthink that situation so much and give it so much of your energy when realistically you can't change it. You've done it.
Hmm.
The best thing you can do is let it go and move on.
Hmm.
But what a lot of us do is we get that mindset of, oh, well, I've done it now. And we keep going rather than stopping and pausing and being like,
Yeah,
okay, I stuffed up here. That's okay. Move forward. We get that mentality of, oh, I've stuffed up now.
I've
I'll
stuffed
be
up
back
now.
on track tomorrow. And then
It's
tomorrow comes and then we're holding that guilt still and then it starts again.
it's kind of like, let's say, you fell over, let's say you're playing a sport and you fell over and you broke a bone and you went, well, I've broken one. Let's just break all of them. And you just got someone to go and break every bone in your body. Like it's kind of like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You twist an ankle, you think, oh, it doesn't really hurt. So you keep playing and then it ends up really
Twist,
bad.
I've twisted one. Why not twist the other one?
Exactly. So, and again, this all comes back to reframing, which is in our previous podcast, like we said, about how
Yeah,
we attack that moment. So that
yeah.
is a big crucial thing is if you do stuff up, if you're on a diet plan, or if you've just said to yourself, I'm going to eat good and you stuff up, that is okay. Acknowledge that moment and then move forward. Don't stew
Because
over it.
yeah, it's funny you say, because as soon as you started saying that, I was just like taken back to like those previous episodes, because when you, I guess, fall off the rails, or
Hmm.
you have something as a result of that emotional eating, so many people then follow it up with, I have no willpower, or I'm a failure, or
Hmm.
I shouldn't have done that. And it's that negative self talk once again being reinforced.
100%. And
All
this is
connected.
and this is why we've already covered reframing. So this is
Mm-hmm.
why we said last week, if you're joining in now, go back and watch from the start because we have done it this way for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you would need those tools from earlier podcasts for this.
Yeah. And if you're saying those things about yourself, you're then further reaffirming and
Hmm.
reinforcing that attachment, that emotional attachment to food.
100%. Because the
Yeah.
mind plays a huge part in this. So over time, our brains learn to link certain emotions or certain feelings or situations to eating.
Mm-hmm.
and it can come almost like automatic, so we don't even think about it. It just happens because it's become normal in our brain. So we reach for foods without even realizing why. And for
Mm.
many people, food, I guess it becomes a way to like soothe or even distract them from something or even numb. So there are three big ones: soothe,
Mm-hmm.
distract, and numb
Mm-hmm.
any feeling we have. And in that moment, it does do that to those feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I think we need to realize is emotional hunger also shows up very suddenly. So this is a great way to identify if
Yeah.
it's actual physical hunger or emotional hunger. Emotional hunger will come like that.
Right. In
Physical
response,
hunger,
in response to something.
yep, like
Mm-hmm.
emotions or situations or anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Physical hunger gradually builds. So if we would all sit here for a second and think, okay, a time when we've emotional ate, the feeling comes like that, like I just need something. And that's why we break because we're in hypervigilance. So we just do it without even thinking. Where when
Mm-hmm.
we gradually get hungry, which is physical hunger, oh, what's the time? Oh, yeah, it's coming up to lunchtime. It's coming up to, 3 hours since I ate last. My body's telling me it's hungry. They're two really key points to remember. And as soon as you feel any sort of hunger, pause. And
Mm-hmm.
again, what we've covered in our previous 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What kind of hunger is this?
It's so true because, like, again, you think about if you're in an emotional state, it's it's quick, it's fast, and often without awareness, your response is also quick, fast, instant. Like, if you think about any time that you've been at a really, really heightened emotional state, your ability to control your words, your responses, your actions is really minimal, like, and it's not necessarily like the negative emotions. Like, if something happens that instantly makes you joyous and you jump up and down, or you
Mm-hmm.
you squeal with delight, or anything like that, like, it's an instant response. Like, you don't step back and go, oh, this is such amazing news, I'm going to jump up and down for joy, and then jump up and down for joy. Like, it just happens unless
Yeah.
you stop and you go, like, let's say you found out the best news ever and you're in the middle of a supermarket with people all around you, and your instant reaction, you want to jump for joy, but because of your surroundings, then you might stop and then you might take a moment instead of actually jumping for joy.
100%. And this is where, if we can take that moment to not jump for joy,
Mm-hmm.
we can take that moment to be like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Am I physically hungry or am I emotionally hungry? And that will
Mm-hmm.
just stop that part of your brain craving that cortisol spike and make you realize, okay, what kind of hunger is it? If it's
Mm-hmm.
emotional hunger, then some things I mention soon, do those. But if it's physical hunger, eat. It's
Yeah.
really important that you understand. It's kind of like when we react to food, it's kind of like when we're in a situation and it's fight or flight.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, but with food.
Mm-hmm.
You either fight the urge to do it and take time and realize what it's about, or you flight and you just go have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that adapts to so many things in our life, which I can't stress enough. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
And this is used in everything, and it's there's studies to show that this works. And I'm not saying like, if you're out and you walk past something nice and you think, oh, and you're having a shit day, I don't expect people to stand there and go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's something you can do in your head. No one
Yeah.
even needs to know you're doing it. So it's not like there's I'm gonna be harsh here, but there's no excuse for why it can't be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. In we're here to be honest as well. There's no excuse for why it can't be done. You just got to be able to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And look, I think it's important that people understand that we're not saying all of these things because, like, we've always and 24/7 for our entire lives been able to do this. And
No.
like, we've not just seen it. Like, I know for me, I've experienced emotional eating. In
Hmm.
fact, I only had the ability to not emotionally eat. Like it's only come in the last, I would even say like 5 years or so. Um,
100%.
we're speaking from experience. Like we're not, yeah. Do you know what
We're
I
not
mean?
taking this from a textbook and just telling you it. Exactly. And that's what I think. And, I'm sure you probably get this a lot. And I know I do as a therapist. A lot of people assume because I'm a therapist that I don't ever need someone to talk to. I don't ever have someone that I go see, a therapist that I go see. I have a constant therapist because I do have moments because I'm human like everyone else, but
Mhm.
also when I'm carrying so much as a therapist, I need to then offload that onto someone else. And then that therapist has a therapist. So none of us, it's not just because we're a therapist or nutritionist or whatever that we don't go through it.
Yeah,
100%. Your words are
we
so
do.
true. We
Hmm.
do. If
Yeah,
anything, we know what it's like to go through this, and this is probably why we've gone into these fields because we
yeah.
know what it's like. I know that that's why I went into counseling and occupational therapy, is because they're two things that I've lived, and I
Hmm.
want to help people in those areas.
Yeah. And like, I'm a nutritionist. I'm like Cert 3 4 diploma in fitness. I've done like my comp coaching courses and everything. And I still have a coach myself. And do you know what? Even this weekend, so yesterday, I woke up and I was like, do you know what? I don't have it in me. I just felt like I didn't have it in me to track my food and stick to my plan and everything like that. Like I felt like burnt out from doing it.
Yeah.
And I messaged my coach and I just said, hey, coach, like, I'm really struggling. I'm feeling like I just don't have it in me to track my food and whatnot today. Like, can I have a day off? Right. So, like, even myself as a nutritionist, as a coach, like, I reached out to my coach and said, hey, can I have a day off? And of course, like my coach came back with, because sometimes he might not. Like if you're in the thick of prep, my coach could have come back and said, no, like you need to be on it.
Big girl pants.
Like pull up your big girl pants, like stick to the plan. But he wrote back and he said to me, have a couple of days off and
Yeah.
start back Monday. And it was really interesting because my response was just like, yeah, awesome. Thanks for that, coach. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't need 2 days off. Like, I literally just want one day off. And then I was given that permission. And, the funny thing was, I still tracked my food yesterday. I just didn't check in at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I hit my macros. I actually probably nailed it better than I have like for the whole week prior to, but I still tracked it. I just didn't check in. And that alone was enough pressure off my back. So, we still feel it too, even
Yeah.
now. Like we still have that now.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And we will always have that no matter how much someone goes and studies what they do, or it doesn't mean that we don't experience that. Like it's so far from the truth. Like there's so many expectations from society that, yeah, nutritionists are perfect eaters and therapists, counseling therapists are never sad. It's bullshit. And if
It's
there's a therapist or a nutritionist out there that says that they don't do that, I'm gonna say you're lying.
But at the same time, like the reality is we're all human,
That's
we're
it. We're not
human emotions and
perfect.
it's part of life.
Oh, it. Could you imagine if we were all perfect? The world would be so fucking boring.
Heck yes.
We'd never learn anything. We'd never be able to grow.
Nah.
Like we'd just all be stagnant.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, look, like we do experience it too. And I guess look, some ways how we can change this emotional eating is again, previous pods, it starts with awareness.
Mhm.
So pausing and asking ourselves, am I actually hungry or am I
Mhm.
trying to comfort myself? And sometimes even people who feel like they're not in control of anything in their life tend to emotional eat quite a
Mhm.
lot because they can control that. So ask yourself, am I eating because I'm physically hungry or am I eating to control this situation or this emotion?
Mhm.
Mindfulness helps. I know that meditation isn't for everyone, but it doesn't have to be meditation. It can be any sort of mindfulness. So, like just slowing down and really, really sitting with our feelings, and letting them be. And art, a point we covered just before, how we see the food, but we don't actually taste it. Look at, like, ask yourself, when I've emotionally ate before in the past, what did the food taste like? And I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, you won't be able to say anything because you didn't taste it. It
Mm,
was just that mind over matter thing. So ask yourself, did I taste that? And then you won't eat on autopilot because you
mhm,
now know that there wasn't actually, you didn't actually experience any taste out of that. You did it on autopilot.
mhm,
Um, I guess, keeping a food journal is a big one. So I always rave on about journaling. I do it every night, sometimes twice a day, but
mhm,
keeping a food and feeling journal. So it can help spot like patterns and triggers. So you start your journal, and then over time you'll be able to go back and you'll be able to say, okay, I might emotionally eat when I'm bored. I might more emotional eat when I'm sad. So by doing that journal, it will help us find our patterns and our triggers. Then try to add other coping tools. So they could be like going for a walk rather than when you're stressed, rather than, oh, I need food, I need to go for a walk.
mhm,
Call a friend,
mhm.
journal,
Message
um,
your coach.
message your coach, even do some deep breathing. Like,
Mhm,
I can't stress enough. Like, I have something for me and my kids on the fridge, and it's just like a circle. And when the kids are stressed and stuff, I give it to them and I say, okay, I want you to put your finger on here, and I put a timer on, and I'm going to say, I want you to go around with the timer in front of them, and I want you to trace that circle. And it's breathe in as you're going, like deep breaths as you're doing it. And it honestly works so good for their stress levels.
Did you say you had that on the fridge?
Yeah. Have you got one too?
No, I don't.
Oh,
But like, I know you're saying that you use it like for the kids for emotional regulation. Like, anyone could put a picture of a circle on the front of their fridge or on the inside of a cupboard door.
hmm.
And before they actually reach in and get the food, like, what a great practical activity that you
And
could
that's
just
the
do.
thing. Lacey, even though she only has purees, when she's heightened, she wants food. But I know her, and she'll overeat to the point where she'll vomit. So again, put it on the
Wow.
fridge, get them to do it. It's something I'm not saying just use it for the fridge, but you could have one on your bedroom door, you could have one in your bathroom toilet, wherever you want to have it. But
Yeah.
I just leave it on the fridge and they know they can take it off there. But I just feel like for Lace, that's her commonplace.
But
Um,
how amazing is that? Like, you're teaching her that, like, you're starting to work on this awareness with her, and this ability to like control it when it comes to food, without reinforcing like any form of diet culture or food being good or food being bad or anything like that. And she's gonna have these tools like as she grows up. Like, this is epic. This is so cool. I
and
love
look,
that.
this is the thing I learned in my OT degree, because little Ace doesn't actually get because she's predominantly peg fed. She doesn't
Mhm.
get the proper receptors we get for food. So for her, we think it's hard for us. Now, as a 5-year old, that's super hard for her because she doesn't actually know what full and not full feels like, really.
Wow. Yeah. So,
So I've had to come up with so many strategies around. Drinking's different because she can't have like anything orally. It has to be done by me. But food, because she can eat puree, she'll just, oh, mummy, I want yogurt. Mummy, I want a pouch. And it's like, do you really? So I make her do this. And this has probably been what, the last, I reckon, 3 months we've done this. And
mhm.
I've noticed half the time after she does it, she's not hungry. Well, probably over half the time, she's not hungry.
No,
She's
she
like,
gets distracted and she finds something else
oh,
to
Mum,
do,
Ellie, her
right?
doll is crying. So then she'll go grab her doll that's crying. Like, do you know, it's such a powerful thing.
Wow.
Such a powerful thing.
That I'm doing
Do
that. I'm doing that. That
you know
I
what?
love that.
I'm gonna be honest, there's moments when I've done it, when I've been in.
I'm gonna do it. I think it's
I'm like,
brilliant.
I feel like I feel like a chocolate. And I know I don't need it, and I know I don't really want it. So I do the
Yeah.
circle.
A circle.
I feel all right. Or hot chippies are my weakness, so I'm like, I just want some hot chips. No, I
Yeah.
don't.
What a freaking gem. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. And who would have thought a circle on your fridge would do something so powerful? But it works.
It- We're at the 30-minute mark,
Oh my God.
and I feel like you've just done a massive mic drop. So that's probably like a, a great place to like wrap it
Yeah,
up for
leave it.
today.
Yeah.
Like we've still got more to cover on this, but I mean, if you take nothing from this podcast today, but just draw a freaking circle and put it on your fridge in your cupboard, like boom.
Please do it. I want to see pictures sent in to us on our Instagram page. Please, please.
Yeah, I'm going to do it because like I'm at the moment in my like reverse diet, recovery diet, and
Yeah.
you know, still trying to rebalance out like hunger signaling and like because effectively your hunger signaling just gets all effed up and it's all over the place and you don't know if you're full or you're not. So like
Yeah.
post comp you do actually go there. So it's about getting that hunger signaling back in check and back in control. And like whilst I've been sticking to my macros, one thing that I found, and this is probably why I'm exhausted from tracking at the moment. One thing I found is that like I'll have something and then because my hunger signaling's not there, I'll have more, right?
Yeah.
So then what's happening is I'm then having to modify and change the rest of my day so that I'm still fitting my macros in at the end of the day. I've just had it having like a light bulb moment right here. So then I'm having to change it for the rest of the day, as opposed to what I was doing before was planning it at the start of the day and then just sticking to that plan, which is quite easy.
Yeah.
So what I'm having to do now is when I have those moments and I have a bit extra, let's say in the morning, I'm having to move we'll talk about macros in future ones because macros is really about moving like the chess pieces or the Tetris pieces. So then I'm having to move the chess pieces to make sure that I will finish the day still hitting my macros. So the end result is I'm still hitting my macros, right?
Yeah.
But because I'm having to change it, that's the reason why I'm actually getting exhausted with tracking.
Yeah.
I'm
And it's
having
probably
to
a bit of
think
those
about it
cortisol stress.
more
Yeah.
because I'm getting this hunger signaling. So I'm even thinking myself, like right now in this phase of my reverse, in order to reduce that fatigue when it comes to tracking, if I can have more control earlier in the day, then I'm not going to have that exhaustion and that burnout from the tracking because I'm not going to have to keep changing it all the time. And I'm actually just really cottoned on. That's what's going on.
It's awesome.
Thanks. You're amazing.
You're welcome.
I am going to go and draw a couple of circles, and I've literally spent the morning clearing out like all the kids' craft stuff and drawing stuff and everything like that. So
See, it's a sign.
it's a sign. Like literally, I've just found because we keep running out of paper, and so I a while ago bought like a heap of blank like pads because Sebi loves his drawing. And I've just found them all and put them somewhere so I don't have to keep buying them. So I know exactly where the good textures are, the clear paper, like, thanks. Like this is
yeah, look, I want everyone who does it, please mention Mind and Muscle Instagram on it and we will reshare it. I would love for you guys to do that for us and let us know if you're going to do it.
So cool. So cool.
Awesome.
Well, that's us for today.
Goes quick, doesn't it?
I know.
And we'll be back next week.
Yeah, we'll continue on with this next week. But I think if you don't do anything other than, you know, draw a circle, but like there's so many huge takeaways from today, like the journaling, the understanding why it's happening, so therefore being kind to yourself, like the 5 4 3 2 1, like I think that's a brilliant one. So like so many takeaways from today. Yeah, definitely.
No, I agree.
Thanks everyone who listens in.
Yes, thank you.
You know, do pictures of your circles and tag us and make sure you subscribe because that's what really counts. And if you know someone, and we all do, if you know someone who does struggle with emotional eating and you know someone who's got some big goals and this is something that holds them back, like share this because
Yeah,
this is, you know, I really think that this is going to help a lot of people.
100% it will. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
All right. Thanks, our sponsors,
Awesome.
Kojo Coffee, Fernwood Salisbury.
Thanks, everyone.
And thank you, Sal.
No, my pleasure.
See you guys. See you next
All right.
time.
Bye, guys.